When I arrived at the Grace Center campus this summer in June, there was a huge crowd of people waiting to welcome us. And the children were singing and the women were there singing to welcome us to the Grace Center. And I wondered in my heart, where is Jachai? Jachai had been brought to the Grace Center just 3 weeks earlier when he was only 1 day old. After standing there for just a few minutes, I just began to ask, where is Jachai? I need to see Jachai. His home mother brought Jachai to me, and as she handed him to me, his blanket fell off. And there I could see his tiny little bones in his arm and his frail skin. And he was gasping for breath. He was, and it scared me. And I thought, oh no, what is happening to Jachai? And then I saw the bottle of formula, and I realized they weren't mixing enough formula into his bottle, and it was very watery. And Jachai was starving to death. I dreamed last week that I was standing in a room filled with people. The room was shaped like a cross, and there were 4 sections, and I was standing in the middle of the cross at the front of one of the sections. Beautiful music began to play, and it had such a great beat, and it was like we all wanted to dance, but as I looked around the room, all of us were just standing there really stiff, and I just really felt in my heart that I needed to start to dance. Felt really uncomfortable, but I just began to take the first step. And as I was dancing, and I take a step forward and a step back, and I just started dancing. And pretty soon people around me started dancing too. And then I looked over to the left, and another group started dancing, and their leader was a much better dancer than me. And I looked over, and on the other side of the room, the other group was starting to dance, and they had a brilliant leader, and she was just so graceful. So the whole room was beginning to dance, and then finally the 4th section started dancing, and their leader was like doing these crazy breakdance moves and all over the place, flipping and twirling, and it was just amazing as we were dancing to this beautiful music that was just filling the room. And as we were dancing, I began to worship. And so we were all just singing, "You are beautiful, you are beautiful." A worship song to Jesus. We rushed to Patricia's home as fast as we could. We remixed the formula and began feeding Jachai real formula for the first time. Jachai would have died that night. I'm convinced of that, but that's not the end of the story. Mrs. Shumba is the home mother who cares for Jachai. And that day she learned to mix formula. And now Mrs. Shumba is teaching all the mothers how to mix their formula for their babies. We have 18 babies. Some of them live in Patricia's home, and some of them live with their mothers. Jesus is singing his song of restoration over Africa, and the dance has begun. I have a question though. Why are so many mothers losing their ability to nurse or breastfeed their babies? The answer to this question brings us to our first restoration project, the Maternal Care Center. Mothers who come to the Grace Center looking for formula for their babies will be invited to stay for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, babies that are still at risk can be enrolled in our infant formula program. Will you join in the restoration dance? There are so many ways that you can be a part of the restoration of Africa. You can sponsor a baby or a mother. You could buy a bed for the center or help build the kitchen. Or maybe you know how to dance. Maybe you even do break dancing, maternal care center style break dancing. A doctor, a nurse, lactation consultant, nutritionist. We need you to come and train our staff and help us to understand what the women need and what will help them best to be able to care for their families. Jesus is singing a song of restoration over Africa, and he has invited us to join in the dance. Will you dance with me?